up like a 42.
All right, what's
cow
happening,
chipper. It's
people?
about perfect.
We're just here chatting. I have a guest sitting over here. He's hiding. he's gonna come snuggle up with me here shortly. So we'll let people get checked in, and we're partaking in some peanut butter whiskey. Is what you can see here briefly. Craig McIntire is the first one to join, naturally.
Here, you want me to come over?
Yeah, come on over.
All right, I'll come and get in.
Come squeeze in. I figure everybody's busy. It'll take a little while for people to start checking in. Paul McGinnis, what's happening? Mike Roberts. Thanks, Mike, for all you do. And tonight.
We'll see you tomorrow, Mike.
Yep. Richard Brown. What's happening? You coming out tomorrow?
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going
Julie
to
Dan,
bring
what's happening?
like 3 or 4 bikes, I think. Let people just ride them.
Oh, yeah.
For people who don't have mountain bikes.
Sweet. All right. Cool. Hold that thought. Retain all those.
Yeah, good
We'll
luck
talk about all
peanut butter whiskey.
Yeah, right. Katie Winters, what's happening? Got a few thumbs up. I know everybody's busy. Everybody's doing their thing. It's New Year's Eve. It's kind of a weird time. Just the way Tuesday fell. So hopefully there's a few of you guys that are probably still sitting at home. Hopefully not out getting in trouble like we are. Bryce Bell, what's up? Doug Osment. We're almost 2 minutes in. I'll give it like another minute, and then we'll get rolling. Give me a little bit more time we're enjoying our peanut butter whiskey. Ooh. Let's see, where's that? So I can get that on the camera.
There you go.
Bottle.
Now zoom it in and out.
Baby bottle.
Yeah.
So they were out again at the store, so we picked up a few of these. So, and we have some cold beers. Tommy Jeffries, what's happening? All right, there's a few of you, and we'll have some more check in as we get going. I'm going to go ahead and kick off talking, and then I'll keep an eye on everybody. Hey, Brian Albee, what's happening? Good to see you today. John Farrow, good to see you today as well too. Running into everybody today at Bluff Creek. So, and Jeffrey Carr, what's happening, Jeffrey? So I just want to introduce my guests real quick, and we're going to talk to both of them a little bit. We're just going to kind of go from there. So over here on the end, sporting his brand new Bike Lab jersey, my buddy Josh Potts. He's from Kansas, and I don't know, I always talk him into doing really stupid shit with us. So he's come down. He got a hall pass from the kiddo and the wife, and he came down, and we've spent the last couple of days riding Lake Tom Steed. Went out there and rode with a group of guys, and knocked out I don't know. You got 2 laps, right?
2 in, yeah.
He got 2 laps. I did 3, and our crazy buddy Trip Harrison from Ardmore knocked out 4. So
On a rigid.
So we decided to stop at 3 and drink beer. Yeah, on a rigid. So
Well, if you're going to knock out 4.
And then we went the next day, and it was, I guess everybody must have been tired because it was just Kai Cordes and me and Josh, and we knocked out a couple laps of the Cat 1-2 race course at Medicine Park, and that's all we did. We were thinking about doing some other stuff, but that's really about it. So Josh, just tell me what you thought about Steed, Medicine Park.
If you like rocks, you're
all right.
It's gonna be fun.
Because you've never ridden Steed, you've ridden Medicine Park, right?
No, and I hadn't ridden it either.
Oh, really? Okay, so you were doing both. Yeah.
And mixed reviews on which one was harder. I think you kind of made it seem like Steed might be a little harder. I really thought Medicine Park might be a little harder.
After riding both of them, I think the wet on some of the sections made Medicine Park probably a little bit harder.
Yeah, it wasn't too wet, but
yeah, it was just slippery, and of course we got
jagged rocks.
The rocks are a little jagged. Yeah.
But it was a good time.
Cool, awesome. So, got some other topics, but why don't you give a shout out to your kiddos and your
probably
wife,
not watching,
so.
but I'll show them later. So. My wife Martika, thanks for letting me go ride for a few days here.
All right.
Thanks, Martika.
Yeah, she gave him the hall pass.
Kylie,
Thumbs
Jane,
up.
and Elijah. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Miss my kiddos.
All right.
It's been fun.
He's got like he's like the true to dirt guy. It's like we always laugh because it's like, where's Josh? And it's like, and then the very next question is like, well, where's Josh's kids? Because his kids are like the cutest kids. It's ridiculous. So
Elijah will be ready for some Strider races here.
Awesome.
I know, right?
He's been riding around the living room practicing like
That's right.
crazy.
It's awesome.
So
we're gonna talk more with Craig McIntire. Craig's the one snuggling up to me with this cool beanie on. We're going to talk more with him in a minute. I got a couple of little items, and then the main shows with Craig here. We're at Spokelahoma. We're in Shawnee, and just taking, just I decided to kind of get out of the house and do a remote site. And so anyway, we're going to talk Gravel Growler. We're going to talk Spokelahoma Bike Shop, whatever the hell Craig wants to talk about. We're just going to talk about it. So. Let me go up here. I've missed a few, I think. Todd Windricks is in the house. Lloyd Graham.
What's up, Lloyd?
Yeah, Lloyd from, Lloyd's checking in from KS. Zachary Hood, Barry David. Zach's at work. No bueno, Zach.
I'm at work.
Right. Well, yeah. You did do business just a minute ago.
Yeah,
right?
right here.
You sold
we
lights.
were closed. We still did stuff. So there you go.
Still sold lights. Word, what's up, Brian McGinnis? Jeffrey Carr, Steed Rocks. You need to get out there and check it out. 5 Mile Loop is rocking. Hunter Farrington, what's happening? So as I mentioned in the caption, totally winging it. Busy day today. Josh and I slept in and we're a little bit tired. We had to drive all the way to Oklahoma City. Then we hung out at the bike shop, bike lab for a while. Tony made us drink a beer. And then we were late getting to Bluff Creek. We did a couple laps at Bluff Creek just to kind of shake the cobwebs out. And then we blazed St. Crispin's, and then we came all the way to.
I don't want to kill the whiskey.
Kill the whiskey.
Don't kill the whiskey.
And then we blazed back to Shawnee, got some food. Now we're here. So I haven't even had time to really take notes. But I do want to just start with just a real quick business item. Just lucky because it came up. USA Cycling licenses. It's that time of year. Your license expires tonight. You have to, it depends on how you have things set up. I mean, if you're doing 1 days, obviously it doesn't matter. But if you have an annual license, most of us do. I'm set up on an automatic renewal. So I got a notification yesterday that mine just automatically renewed. I'm charged the $85, but I guess because it's electronic, it was like $87. It's 80. Yep. It's 80 for most of you guys, but if you're a Cat 1 mountain biker, it costs $5 extra because we have to pay for anti-doping stuff.
I don't have that problem.
I don't either. I don't win any races. They're going to test me. So, that's like that. You get those stickers, all the runners, they do 13.1.
Yeah. I want the 0.1.
There's one called 90 milliliter.
Oh, I like it. Yeah.
that's how much you have to pee in the cup, apparently, or something. But where I want to go with that is if you're on an auto renewal or if you manually renew, either way, be sure and check your email and or log in. I don't think I got an email notification, but when I logged into my USA Cycling account, which I did last night, immediately upon renewal, the very first page that comes up is a waiver that you have to, there's like 3 check boxes, and then you have to type your name, and then you have to hit OK or I agree to whatever it is. You can read it, but nobody reads it realistically. And that is your online signature, so that when you do register online, you have officially signed a waiver. So that way, when you go to a race, if you've registered online, you don't have to sign. You don't have to fill out a waiver. So anyway, so just be sure and do that, because if you don't do that, even though you've renewed your license, it will still show expired probably, or it'll show, I don't know, there'll be some.
But they took your money, because they took my money and sent me an email. I haven't signed a waiver.
Oh no, absolutely, they take your money, but yeah. So be sure and do that. I mean, you've got plenty of time before True to Dirt races, so that's not a big deal. But just want you guys to know that we ran into that a lot last year. Excuse me. we had people showing up with expired licenses, and they're like, no, I renewed. Well, it wasn't that their license was expired. It's just because they hadn't logged in, signed that waiver to agree upon it. So it hadn't allowed electronically their license to officially renew. So you have to be sure and do that. So a lot of you probably don't even log into your USA Cycling account, but you need to be able to. And if it's similar to in the past, I know that parents that have kids under their account, kids under 18 that have to be under them, that's always been an issue. If you have trouble with that, just holler. I don't have an answer for that, but I have 2 contacts at USA Cycling that I usually just holler at, and they always take care of it for us. So just let me know. So just if you have questions about that, holler, and we'll deal with it at that. Albert Simon's in the house. What's happening, Albert?
Or Kansas.
Yeah. So I hear you guys are going to go ride Camp Horizon tomorrow. So that's pretty cool. I'm glad that's open. Josh has been telling me about all the work that somebody's
the local Arc City guys.
Local Arc City guys have been doing that.
Yeah, they got it all reopened,
cool.
and I think they just had a work day. Quincy was telling me they went down there and did some work too. So
okay, awesome.
Wichita guys too.
Awesome,
so.
awesome. Very cool. Yeah, I love that course. I do want to apologize for the fact that I am not looking at the camera, and that is because I'm not angled exactly right. So there's the camera there.
It's a remote location, and we don't have all this high-tech gear.
So, yeah, my couch and coffee, and my dog running around, peeing in the floor. Oh man. James Dipsy's in the house. What's happening, James? We were just talking about you, man. I haven't seen you in a while. You need to hit me up. Give me a holler. Herb Brown, excellent. Yours is renewed. You're welcome, Katie. Katie says, thanks for the reminder about the licensing. Jace Hargrove's in the house. Zoe Perko. What's happening, Zoe? Haven't talked to you in a while. Zoe's one of my, and Scott Bozone right below him, 2 of my Arkansas buddies.
Awesome.
Yeah, GT Giorgito. Yams Garmin. I was going to say Arkansas, but I think you're in Missouri, right? Or are you in Kansas? Shit, I can't remember. I always meet you at like those off races up there. Dave Herrera's in the house.
George is still in Vegas?
Dude,
don't you have a... Oh, wait, this is your job.
Oh, that probably is a job. Like one time he was like, I'm in New York. Never know where George is going to be.
So. One of those.
Well, you know, he rented a Mustang because he bragged about it the whole...
Oh, that's right. I know, right? Brent White's in the house. What's happening, Brent? Kansas City. I was right the first time. Missouri. Boom.
Well, maybe. Could be Kansas.
You need to go right to Swope up there.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I've heard Swope's badass. Wow. I totally missed single speed world championships up there like last year.
And they just added some more trail. They just
feel bad about that
last year.
Daniel Lemons, what's happening, brother?
There you go.
I met Daniel at Blackwell this year. Deja Knowles. He's hanging out in Taos, New Mexico. Oh, yeah, George, darn work. It's terrible hanging out in Las Vegas on New Year's Eve. It's awful. You poor guy. I feel so bad for you. Not.
George, I got a bag I can loan you so you can fly. You fly Southwest, $75. You're good to go.
Okay, let's see. I think I had one more item of business, and then we're gonna talk with Craig. Oh yeah. So I don't want to do a big. I normally have a section where I'm talking about upcoming events. I'm just going to skip that today. And the upcoming event is tomorrow. We are going to Fat Tire.
That's the upcoming event.
That's right, Fat Tire. Well, there's going to be that involved as well too, tonight and tomorrow. We're headed to St. Crispin's. Thanks to Mike and Joanne. This is again, I'm winging it. 6th annu's. I'm almost positive.
Sounds about right.
I'm almost positive it's the 6th annual. They've done this now. It's called the New Year's Day Commitment Ride, and it's a great event. It's very casual. It's just come and go. It starts at 10, but you don't have. You can just show up whenever. I have to admit that I've done several of these, and usually there's a lot of hanging out and just talking. And we do some riding, and then just hanging out in the parking lot talking, and it's a great way to kick off the new year with good friends. And Even new friends. I've met 2 or 3 people there for the very first time. And in fact, a couple of people are on our team that I met for the first time at St. Crispin's. My buddy Jay Black. He hasn't checked in tonight yet, so him and Jennifer probably have plans. I'm hoping he checks in later, but I can still remember sitting there in the parking lot in our lawn chairs, drinking beers, and didn't know who this guy was, and now we're good buds, and he's hanging out on our team, and Jay Black, yes, he met his now wife Jennifer at St. Crispin's too, so. St. Crispin's has been good for Jay Black. so yeah, thumbs up wherever you guys are at. He usually checks in, but I'm sure they're probably busy with family stuff and New Year's Eve stuff. So that's awesome. Joseph Rinke checked in. Tom Clark, you bet. Yeah, glad that got you going. Rhonda Griffin Earhart, what's happening? GT Giorgito says St. Crispin's, heart for sure. Daniel Lemon says, getting ready for the Tour de Dirt series. Going to race the whole series this year. Awesome, brother. Excellent. Just hit me up, man. We'll make sure we do some pre-rides together. Okay, we're ready for the main event, and I'm going to sit back a little bit now and get comfy. I've got my Dogfish Ale here. Again, this is a favorite of Jeremy Black, my buddy, and he's kind of got me. Usually I don't buy these because Jeremy buys them. I just steal them out of his ice chest. So, but it's his fault. I don't have any today because I drank them all yesterday and the day before, but it's his fault now. We have a new go-to for the team. We have the Natty Light. Natterdays. Oh, my gosh. Those are so good. And they're like $4.59 a six pack.
Exactly.
No. Is it 4? No, it's 5. It's 5. It's 5.
5? It depends where you get.
It's like under $6.
Yeah.
It's under $1 a beer. And they're delicious. Isn't that right, Mark Ellis from Medicine Park? It's Mark's new favorite beer, but he's afraid to tell everybody.
We won't take your man card. It's all right.
John Chenault, what's happening? Bobby Smith, what's up, brother? Bobby Smith, I hope you're going to go ride Horizon tomorrow. I hear some locals have been doing some work. I know that's your baby out there, and you've been doing stuff out there, so you need to go ride that and touch on with them. Okay, I'll check in and see what everybody's saying. You guys have questions, comments, whatever you want to throw out there. New Year's Eve stuff, bike stuff, just toss it out. We're drinking peanut butter whiskey Screwball. I'm drinking Dogfish Ale. He's drinking Fat Tire.
I got some Stilly
We
Weed.
got a Stilly Weed over here. Man, we have a whole variety of stuff.
We got the 12 days of whiskey too.
We got 12 days of whiskey.
Oh,
You want to tap into that?
Yeah, 12 days of whiskey, Jim Beam.
Yeah, you better.
One of my customers brought this into me, and it's awesome. Though we do warn you that the black cherry, not so much, unless you're a big fan of Kids Cough syrup. But everything else so far, it's been good. You open them up, boom. You got apple. You got just the regular Jim Beam. You got the maple. The maple tastes like maple syrup. It is freaking awesome.
I think I'm going to do maple. Can I do that?
Go for it.
Oh, rocking right there.
We got more apple. We got more vanilla. We got the black, which, you can't go wrong with that.
Oh, my gosh.
Isn't that good? Got the fire.
That smells so good.
We may need a ride home tonight. The Red Stag, which isn't bad. Good for me. I only live 3 miles from here. And this sofa is the most comfortable sofa known to man. So there you go.
I know it is. I like it.
So the two first things that were moved into the shop were the sofa and the TV.
Nice.
Third thing was the beer fridge.
Nice.
And then the Keurig on top. So
that's a goal. You got to. So that's a golden go-to.
And we got a bunch of guys, Dave Isbell being one of them. You guys all know Dave. He's a former USAC official. And
Dave's awesome.
He's involved in a ton of stuff. Every time Dave's in here and goes, you need to get rid of the sofa. The answer is no. We will put bikes on the ceiling. We'll do whatever we got to do, but we're not getting rid of the sofa.
They're definitely in here.
There's been many a morning where you've got sort of the European bike racing, cross, whatever, showing on the TV, and it's like 5 in the morning. I'll be just cuddled up on here, one of the blankets I grabbed from the shop, and just hanging out here while my wife wonders what in the hell is wrong with me.
Awesome.
So, but I'm just glad the Wizards brought it here tonight. It just kind of worked out well.
Yeah,
and
just timing.
You know, Corey's been a huge supporter of both the shop, the race. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the Growler tonight because I feel like that'll be overwhelming, but we'll spend a little time on it.
Sure.
And
I think we just need to lay out. I think we just need to talk like the basics. I mean, what's going to happen and the vibe, because I mean there'll still be those of us that have done it know what it's going to feel like, and that's one of the. It's
going to hurt more this year.
You know what? Who cares? It doesn't matter, because the whole point is like the vibe, the feel, and I always say that, and it's hard to explain that in words, but there's just events when you go to an event, it's like. Just feels good. It feels good to be here. It feels good to be around, and the ride doesn't matters, but it doesn't matter. It's just part of the experience, and this is one of those that it has that vibe that I love, that I like to feel for, you know. And you get the opposite of that. It's like those are the things. Like he's like, I'm not going to mention events. He's like, man, are you ever going to go do this? And I'm like, no. No. And it's like everybody else is like, dude, that's my bucket list. And I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah,
it doesn't have a feel. It doesn't have a vibe. It's not that, you know. And so I struggle with that. So.
Well, I used to do. I mentioned earlier, I used to do triathlons, and I still fantasize that I do triathlons. I was never a triathlete. I was a guy who did triathlons, and I did one of the famous M.Dot events, right? The Ironman type events, and it's that same sort of deal, right? Where you're looking at it and you go, it just feels so commercial, and just. I mean, they're really well run. You know what you're going to get, right? And you go to it, and it's very antiseptic, and the courses can be good or bad. But the ones I like are like the Red Man, or there was one in North Carolina called the Beach to Battleship, which ended up being an Ironman event, and then they canceled it, and whatever. But those are the events that you remember, the ones that have this sort of vibe to them that feel cool. Yep. If you ever want to do a triathlon and you want to go crazy, the one to do is the Wildflower, California. You got a camp. They've got this crazy nude thing run on the Friday night. They got naked aids. It's just nuts. Bourbon, bacon, beer, margaritas, 4 aid stations in a row on the run. And after that, it's a walk, and then you're good to go. But it's the same thing. So I appreciate you saying that, because
absolutely,
we've worked really hard to try and make it rider focused. At the same time, add a few things for people who come with the riders. Like you said, last year we kind of stepped it up when you did your podcast in, I guess it was February last year. You mentioned that you were, like, wow, this thing really stepped up in its game. And so we've kind of done it a little bit more this year. And I'm not going to reveal all the secrets of the thing, but one, I'm wearing the beanie. So I had the beanie on the web. And so instead of medals, because I've got an ass ton of medals, and I don't even know where they are.
I got a table just piled.
I've got some at my office. I've got some here. I've got some.
Mine are all at work because there's no room.
All day.
You saw the pile, you saw the pile.
So this year, all finishers get a beanie.
Sweet.
Get the beanie, and so you might wear it, you might not, but whatever. It won't take up any more space than a medal or anything else. But we thought we'd just try something different. Yep. You're still going to get shirts, and I've had a few people say, well, blah, 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 I want a medal. I'm like, yeah, I get it, but whatever, we'll deal with it.
That's something that we started several years ago when I started when I kind of took over the Tour de Dirt, and Desiree's helped me with that. Championship jerseys and awards at the end of the season. Right. One of the things that we like to do is we do random things, but everything that we try to do is we try to do something like this that is something that we can use. So it's a coffee cup,
right?
A beanie, a T-shirt, something that can be worn, something that can be used. This year we did stem caps.
My kid
that's awesome.
I mean, it's on your cat. You're looking. It's like you were faster, fastest.
Hey, my best medal. I'm 2-time. This is a really bad brag, and I'll tell you why in a minute. 2-time defending state champ, fat bike. Fat old man category. But when you got it at St. Crispin's, they had flasks. Right? So we still have them in here. They get used every week.
Right.
It's better than any medal I've got.
You use it. A usable trophy. That's what we love. I love that. I agree for sure. All right, let me check in here, and then
Yeah.
we'll get some questions. We've just been winging it, which is awesome. I love that. Dion Bean, what's happening? Dion Bean's my fireball man. What's up? Bobby Smith, Happy New Year. And I saw your no, we're not. Can't join you, Bobby. We're going out to St. Crispin's. That's where we're rolling. We're quite a ways away from Horizon right now, but you guys have fun, and thumbs up to you.
I'll have to hit it soon.
Yeah, for sure. Greg Grossands, what's happening? Dustin Barrier, sorry. Got your middle name there. Christy Claypool, Michael Messamore. Jesse Harris is in the house. What's happening, Jesse? Hannah Bagaski, what's happening? Hannah, you going to come out tomorrow? Hopefully you're off work. You're going to come ride. You need to come get some St. Crispin's with everybody. Alrighty, I want to dial this back a little bit. Again, I'm with I'm at Spokelahoma, Shawnee, Craig McIntire, Gravel Growler, and so I just want to, we've talked a little bit about Gravel Growler, but let's talk about you. It's Craig McIntire. So, like, how long have you owned this shop?
Shop's been in business close to 3 years now.
Okay.
And it started out. I started working at a bike shop first time. I was in grad school in College Station, Texas.
All right.
And I worked as a nighttime mechanic. And I say that because when I started, he paid everybody on commission. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, well, you do your 3 months and then you go on the salary. I think it was like $3.50 minimum wage or something, some shit like that. And so all the other guys went on hourly. And I realized that if I just stayed on commission and I roll in on a Friday night with a 6-pack, I can knock out like $300-400 worth of commission, and then those guys would come in and they have nothing to do and they get sent home. And so I wasn't a real popular guy, but I started
taking their commission.
That's where I cut my teeth, and I learned to build wheels and do a few other things. And then over the years, I've had a real job, or a couple of real jobs. I've had some stints in grad school and some other things, and I ended up back in Shawnee, or back in Shawnee. I'm originally from Canada. So I grew up outside of Toronto. Okay. I went to college in Hawaii. That was
all over.
That was awful, man. That was terrible.
Terrible.
And then after the 3 years in Hawaii, I went to grad school to learn something to make up for the 3 years that I was
hanging
there.
out on the beach.
Yeah, exactly. And so I built myself a couple sets of wheels, and then everybody knows I don't know the right way to say James Perry.
Yeah.
But so JP. I met him at Larry's bike shop over here in town, and he needed some new wheels for one of his fat tire bikes, which, we were talking about fat tires and what to do earlier. So, I built him a set of some wheels, and then I built him another set, and then I built somebody else's set, and I built James another set. And it just kind of, then I started working on bikes in my part-time, and eventually there was enough people coming to my house. And so this is a story, and I can say this, and my wife won't get mad because she tells people this story too. So one morning I told a couple of guys who were coming over, I said, look, if you're going to pick up your stuff, don't be there before noon on a Sunday, because I'm out for a ride. I'm going down to Ada and back. So I had like an 80-miler planned or something. And so I cruise down, I get back, and in the driveway is this truck. And I'm like, gosh, crap, that's not good. And then so I get them dealt with, and there are a couple of guys, James was one, and I think Andy Dyke may have been another one. Yeah. But so I go in the house, and my wife's like, I'm not really happy about this, because I went out and I was in my pajamas getting the newspaper, and there's these two strange guys parked in our driveway. You need to find a place to do something. So we started looking, ended up buying this building. And then open the shop up as just kind of a part-time, move all my crap out of my garage into here. And it's sort of exploded from that. It's an accidental bike shop.
So you didn't even mean to have a bike shop.
No, I wanted to have a sofa and a TV and a beer fridge and a place to work on my shit. And now you look around and there's no room to do anything. And so I joke with one of my kids over Christmas. I now have 4 jobs. So I have my real job. I work in Tulsa, and I work for an insurance company, and so I do that commute. Yeah. And then I've got this. Yeah. And then I do the Growler, which is, and up to this point, 2 of these 3 jobs don't actually pay any money, right? Right. So I've got the job that pays for the other. And then last year, right. So Miriam Bell, she's a runner, and she's an advocate for a lot of lifestyle stuff and a whole bunch of cool stuff in town. Had been looking she used to do race timing when she lived in Illinois. Okay. And she was looking for an opportunity to do stuff. So we hooked up last year, and I bought all the equipment because have you ever priced race timing a little bit toward the dirt?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
That's why we don't do it.
So last year, you know, I was budgeting. I'm like, oh my God, I had these guys give me really good deals. But when you put on an 11-hour event, I mean, you're talking $3,000 to $4,000 minimum for race time.
Oh yeah.
And so she knew what she was doing. I got an opportunity through a guy I knew, and I got some equipment, and the software, and set it up. So we did it just for the Growler. I was like, oh, this would be cool. And in the meantime, now we've done like 5 other races, and we've got other ones. So now we also have a race timing company.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, because that one actually doesn't really pay any money either, because every time you get money, you buy more crap to make it better.
Oh, we got to upgrade.
We got to upgrade. So we got a cool arch coming in this year, a big inflatable one, kind of like the St. Christmas one. Yeah. But it's, you know, it's a Spokelahoma one, dedicated.
Sweet.
So, and then, you know, so that's kind of it. We still build wheels. I was showing Corey earlier. We just put together a couple of sets, but one was this head. No big deal carbon rim on Hope hubs, and you know it weighs under a kilo.
Yeah, I was
just for a rear fat bike wheel.
It was like nothing.
And if you've looked at our web page or our Facebook page, you probably saw a set of wheels we laid out there. I've got a guy in China I'm working with, and he's really pushing for me to get his carbon rims, and he's been doing this for 25 years. So yeah, it's not like Zip Firecrests or, you know, whatever. The head wheels are amazing. They're made in America. These guys do an amazing job, but it's way out of the price range of the average guy.
Right.
I mean, you're you know, $1,800 to $3,000 depending on your hubs.
Sure.
And there's a lot of people who don't necessarily, they're not weight weenies, but they want to have the aero advantage. They want to have some options available to them, and they understand the trade-offs you make, right? So, you know, if you're buying a Chevette, not a Corvette, you don't expect to win the drag race down. You might, but it's, you know.
Well, and that's like we always talk about too. It's like, you know, there's a ton of ways to buy speed.
Right.
Reality of it is most of it's unnecessary.
Right.
But where it's necessary, wheels.
Wheels, always. Aero trumps everything.
Wheels.
Unless you're going up the Galibier. You know, aero trumps everything.
Yeah. And that's a whole.
And if you don't believe me, and I know a lot of guys tell me, no, wait, okay, yeah, I could lose 30 pounds, right? You couldn't.
No, I would fall.
He would die. But you know,
look pretty. Yeah, I would not. That would not be.
Wouldn't be pretty.
No.
But unless you're going up one of the major passes in Europe, if you look at all the rollers and the punchers and the sprinters in the Tour de France, even the Tour of Italy and Spain, where these guys, I mean, those climbs are god awful. I've ridden a few of them, and they're just god awful. You look at any stage except a long climbing stage, and they're all running 45s, 50. Most of the sprinters on the rolling stages are in skin suits. Yeah. Aero trumps everything. Yep. And for a long time, people said, no, that's not true. But, you know, yeah, it's just not necessarily a matter of money anymore. And so this guy, Jackie, and I have a hard time not saying Jackie Chan. So Jackie, if you're watching, I apologize. It's not your name, but
just roll off the tongue.
So I got introduced to him by somebody else, and it's not one of those just sort of fly by night, open carbon, whatever. They've designed their stuff. And some of the stuff we've just flat out said we don't want. They've got a gravel bike that's only 38 millimeter clearance. We don't need it here. If we're in California, that'd be badass. Right. But it's not our thing. Yeah. And so
we need some fatties on there.
We need, if you're gonna go north of us here.
If you're gonna go chunky, we need some 42s.
Exactly. And so he sent us some rims, and I told him straight up, I'm like, I'll buy 10 sets of rims of a variety of things. We're gonna build some wheels, and we're going to put them on the biggest, strongest, fattest, hardest wearing guys we can find, and we're going to see if we can break them.
So you can break them.
and I figure if we get 1,000 miles with a couple of the guys I know riding them, and they don't break, they're probably going to be good to go.
They're going to, yeah.
And so when we do that, we're going to be rolling out, and I feel like somewhat cheap here announcing this, but we're going to be rolling out some aero gravel type wheels that are going to be under $900.
Awesome.
And awesome. So that's going to be cool. We've got some ultralight other stuff, but and then the other thing we do, and it was funny, we were talking about it earlier, is we sell Lauf. Lauf is a huge sponsor of our race. As a matter of fact, big announcement right now. The Grit, or the Rift, sorry, Lauf's gravel race in Iceland in July, which sold out in like an hour. And it's an amazing course. I rode it in July, and it kicked my ass. And, there's like 5,800 feet of climbing in a 120-mile race, but 4,500 of it comes in the first 35 miles.
Ooh,
it's just uphill. And it was cold. It was like 42 degrees and raining. And the wind was howling off the North Sea.
I might have to rethink my gear ratios.
Yeah.
If I go there.
and so, but they have donated an entry to us to give away.
Awesome.
And so instead of giving it away as a prize for whoever's fast, because that kind of takes the fun out of it for everyone else, we're going to do it as a giveaway. We're going to have a raffle for it.
Awesome.
And so you still have to get your way to Iceland. and I'll give you this advice. So my wife and I went. I mean, who doesn't want to go hang with the Vikings, right?
I'd have to get a passport. I don't even have a passport.
You need to get a passport.
Dude, I've never been out of the country. I've never been anywhere.
Hey, if you're going to get your first time out of the country, if you're going to go, I know a lot of people say, well, go to England or go to Canada. Now, I'm from Canada, so yeah, go to Canada. Weed's legal, and
right?
beer is a national religion, and can't go wrong. But Iceland is an amazing start because it's not a long flight. It's about 7.5 hours from Dallas.
Oh, really? That's not bad.
It's everybody in Iceland speaks English. Matter of fact, most of the people in Iceland speak better English than most of the people in Oklahoma. I hope I didn't offend anybody, but it is a fact.
Dude, I'm a hick. I totally admit it.
They have more sort of hot spring, natural bath, hot tub things than anywhere else. Our greatest memory there is sitting in this sort of natural hot spring on the north shore of Iceland, and it runs off like an infinity pool into the North Sea, into the North Atlantic.
Oh, wow.
And the only thing between you and the North Pole is water and ice. And you're sitting there, and it's it's like 55 degrees. It's the only inhabited place on Earth, so I've been told, that technically doesn't have summer, because to have summer by a geological definition, you've got to have a month where it's above, like, average temperature above 58 degrees or 60. I don't know. There's probably a geologist watching this. Why don't you chime in and tell me? Right. I'm just passing on information.
It's going to be like, some climate
and so,
change
we're there in July, and it's 55 degrees, and the sun only sets for 2 hours of the day, but it never actually gets dark. And it's cheap. Our flights were like $580 round trip, so it's not. I mean, it was cheaper there than going to New York. But once you get there, it's not cheap. It's just not cheap. Gonna let you know, it's not cheap. However, our friends at Lauf, if you win the race, if you win the entry, they'll probably hook you up with a bike so you can avoid that if you want to. If you want to do that, so
awesome,
pretty cool.
No, that sounds very cool. Yeah, we've done we've talked to a lot of. In fact, right now, I mean, those purple glasses that I've been wearing, those are freebies that I got from Lauf at Gravel Worlds, and I'm wearing for my racing glasses right now. There you go. So.
No, the Lauf guys are if you look at the number of events they support and what they do, and then you look at the company, everybody thinks it's this massive company. So you go to Lauf headquarters in Reykjavik, and there are 6 people, and it's about the size of my shop, and they're an amazing crew. They do amazing things, and if you come, Goodberg, who's the chief operating officer and pretty much the chief technical designer, he's not the engineer, so he and Benedict work together to design the forks and the bike and everything else, and he's crazy. And if you're watching Goodberg, I mean that with all the love in the world, man.
Good crazy.
All the love in the world.
Because we're all crazy. We're all a little bit there.
Exactly. So you get to meet him, and then we're also going to give away a fork and some bars and some other stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, I got, I met a lot of those guys for the first time last year here. And then, do some other gravel races. I met them again. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of my first experience meeting them here.
So you met Big Dave, cool. Their South African sales guy.
Dude, I can't remember. Yeah, I was like the dude that gave me the
t-shirt.
He's like
6'4". It's like 350 pounds, and everybody says to me, "Well, these forks, they look kind of flimsy. So how good are they?" I'm like, he rides one.
Dude, I was like, he looks like a bouncer at like a bar that I'm like, don't want to screw with.
Well, he was in the South African Special Forces.
His arm was like as big as my leg.
Yeah. He's a madman,
Yeah.
and he used to race motorcycles, like Baja type motorcycle racing.
Ooh.
And so when he talks about riding, I mean, I can pedal because, you know, let's face it. And Dave, meant with all the love in the world, if you're watching, but you know, he's not in shape. He's kind of, you know, he's just not there. He hasn't ridden in a while. But from a technical perspective, dude is crazy.
Every skill
He's
imaginable.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you a little story about mountain biking and the guys that get into it and get really good fast. In just a second, I just want to kind of check in. Let's see. Who I missed.
Hey, George, I'll take you up on your suggestion. When we get a set of enduro wheels built, you can test them out for me.
There you go. Linda Tickle, what's happening, Linda? Big shout out to you and Mike. Love you guys. Miss you. I haven't seen you in a while. I assume you guys are still doing your RV thing. Give me a shout sometime. Yeah, Bobby. Joshua was telling me about the bench cut that you guys are working on at Horizon, so I heard it's pretty cool. So, Eddie Reimer, what's happening? Happy New Year. Aaron King, welcome, man. Gunner Wright, Arkansas. Gunner's a big part of a lot of the NICA stuff going on in Arkansas. I've talked to him a few times. I'm not real involved in it, but I've talked to him just because he's kind of in the know, and he kind of keeps me straight on that kind of stuff. Nolan Crampy, what's happening, brother? Good to see you. Say hi to Megan and all the fam. The little girl's the cutest. Chip and Charlotte Smith. Darren Hall, what's happening, Darren? Hey, good ride with you, Darren. Sorry, I thought we stopped in the shop and got a few things yesterday. It was yesterday.
Yeah,
man, it's been a blur. It was just yesterday. It seems like it was, but yeah.
After I got the
saw your wife. She said you weren't feeling that good. So, Kenny Caballero, what's happening from Medicine Park? Daryl Stilson, Dustin Easter, Bobby Smith, true. True. They are the title sponsor again for Elrod Surf.
Yep.
That's
Lauf? Yeah.
Lauf. He's
Yeah,
talking about that. Okay. Cool.
Yep.
And Gunner, yeah. What's happening, Gunner? Alrighty. So I had a thought.
It's vacation. It's all right. It's probably gone.
What'd you say? And I said I was gonna tell a story.
Mountain biking. That's all I remember.
You guys are no damn help.
Well, we're used. Well, I'm gonna have more whiskey. There we go.
I knew I'd forget. I should have written it down. So, no. Motocross. So,
okay.
So with mountain biking, typically when you come into mountain biking, the normal person, regardless of age, it takes several years to get really good. You know, it takes 5-6 years. It just takes
35, 40 years. Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. I'm looking at probably 35. 40.
Yeah.
You know, it was 10 for me. It was a solid 10 years for me. But now then you get a lot of guys that come in and it's like, there's this new guy, and then all of a sudden 2 years later, this new guy is like just smashing it.
Yeah.
2 years later. So anytime that happens, just, you know, all the veterans, you know, we just all laugh. And it's like, so BMX or motocross?
Exactly. Yep.
That's the question. One of the two across the board. And they're like, oh, yeah, I was motocross. Because those guys all come in with mad skills that none of us have.
Right. And
none of us have.
We've got a kid out of Ada we got 2 kids out of Ada who I think keep the shop afloat with repairs. Because hey, Bryce, hey, Tucker. They
keep breaking stuff.
I get pictures regularly. Like, what did you do? Well, there are these stairs.
Well, there was this gad jump.
and so Bryce is a motocrosser.
Yeah.
And so first time he gets on a bike, he just rides the block, you know, pop wheelie, rides the block, wheelie. He's like, so how long have you had that bike? Oh, like 40 seconds, you know, and they've got crazy skills.
So all they have to do is get fit, and then it's like they just get good so fast.
Well, that's why Striders work, right? If you know who this blew me away when I first heard it.
His little kiddos are doing that.
Honda and Yamaha sell more Striders because they actually the balance bikes they sell, most of those are made by Strider, they're co-branded, than any bike area. So there's 3 Strider dealers in this town. 2 of them are motorcycle shops, 1 of them here. We sell like 5 a year. They sell like 5 a month. because the hard part's balance.
Yeah.
And we got a guy who rides here, and one of his kids, he gave him a strider. And he's like, it's time to get him pedals. I said, what made you decide that? And he goes, well, he's ramping it off the curb.
I put Elijah on one right when he started walking. He was just over a year. He would push around a little bit, and then that was in the winter. And by spring, we would take it outside. He would just fly down the driveway like it was nothing.
That's
He didn't
amazing.
care.
There's no fear.
And now he's at the point he'll push it around the living room. It's a sunken living room. He'll just go over the ledge. Don't care.
Nice.
And then he gets bored, so he'll go slow as he can and put his feet up on it. And he's not even 3 yet. He'll put his feet up on it and just try to do like a little track stands and stuff. His balance is insane.
That's
from
awesome.
That strider.
And he'll never lose that.
He can't
He'll
even walk as good as he can ride that strider.
So you better hope that that he discovers girls or other sports, because if he continues to cycle and he started like that, he's gonna kick your ass like in 10 years.
Yeah, it's gonna suck.
Yeah, I was like, damn it, kids.
I was at Whistler 2 years ago, and shout out, hey Mark. So I've got a cousin who runs the retail side of Whistler. So we go up there, and I take my son, and he's getting married, and so it's like, okay, this is what I'm going to do for you as your sort of last single trip before you get married. And so we go up to Whistler, and we had that same experience. It used to be we go riding, I'd be like, hey, you okay back there?
Yeah.
Hey, are you okay back there? And we're up at Whistler, and all I heard was, hey, Dad, are you okay? Hey, Dad, are you okay?
He's still back there. It's like, we'll see at the bottom.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's great. Eddie Ryan, we got Don Lasillo checked in. What's happening, Don? Joanne Roberts, what's happening, Joanne? We were talking about
there's an understatement from Eddie.
Yeah, I know, right?
It helped.
Yeah,
I'm sure it did.
we were talking your commitment ride. We're all headed out to St. Crispin's in the morning. Actually, we're headed out there tonight. Thanks for that. And we're bringing a whole big Bike Lab crew in the morning. We'll all be out there. So thumbs up to St. Crispin's and all that they do. Love that venue. Love Mike and Joanne and everything that they do out there. Drew Hartland's in the house. What's happening, Drew? Eddie Reimer says, I raced motocross for 10 years and it helped. So Eddie and I go way back. I think because we're always like in the same age range, like give or take 2 or 3 years. I'm a few years older than he is. Maybe 1, maybe 2, something like that. I can't remember. But so I think we've been racing each other off and on since like 1999.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great. And he's back and doing it again. So I will, Bobby. I will. I'll give you a holler. Don Lasoli says, Happy New Year, Corey, and all the group at Tour de Dirt. Don, appreciate that. Don's our one of our USA Cycling. I don't even know what his title is, but he's just one of my go-tos. He does a lot with USA Cycling regionally, in this whole region, Texas, Oklahoma. I'm sure it's wider. And anytime I have a question, I just holler at him because I'm, dumb when it comes to stuff like that. I just leave it ask and
that ship has sailed. Actually, when they put it in, they put
they're getting in the whiskey box again.
And so it's now doesn't match up with what's written on there because we had to turn it around so we get the whiskey out.
Nobody knows we're talking about whiskey over here.
Yeah, it's okay. we figured Corey has it under control. So.
Bobby Smith says Cameron Chambers was that kid who we were talking about, the one that just like comes in. It's like, who's this kid? The next thing you know, he's like just smashing everybody. So,
what is it about motocross?
Speed skill,
balance, physical strength. Yeah, my buddy Chris Drummond, I used to talk to him about it because he's a motocross guy, and he said, what's funny is like, everybody thinks that you're on a bike, you're doing motocross. It's like you've got a motor. It's not that hard. And he goes, completely false. He said his heart rate would be higher doing a motocross race. Like, it would just through the roof on all these sections because it's so physical. Because you're having to like physically control that bike with your knees and your body and your core and everything. And so I guess it's like super, super physical.
Well, and shit just happens in a hurry. I've got a couple of guys I know who race e-bike, mountain biking now. And
Don's events manager.
I know we're kind of going to the dark side here with that, but everyone I've talked to who races on e-bikes say it's on the mountain bike side way harder than pedaling.
Yeah.
You're still pedaling, but everything happens faster.
Yeah.
And there's no stopping because the traction control depends on the rear wheel. And so if you stop pedaling, you get no traction. So it's constant pedaling. It's not like you can take that break through corners and everybody else has got a motor too. So it's not like you're pulling away from anyone.
Right. True. Don says he's the events manager. I don't know what that means, but he's an awesome dude and does a whole bunch of shit. And we always hit him up for questions. So he's a great dude. If you ever need USA cycling information, he's the man. And loves to ride his bike.
Paula's awesome. We love her.
Oh, look at that. Paula McGinnis McKelly says, listen to this, fellas. Ladies and gents, how's that? I'll be politically correct. OEF will provide free beer to OEF members tomorrow. Water, too. So awesome. So that means you guys better go out, join OEF, become a member, and you get free beer. Thumbs up.
That's pretty awesome.
I renewed my membership, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago. Honestly, I renewed my membership before I renewed my Bike Lab membership because I forgot to renew my membership, which I did today in the shop with Josh, sitting at the table because I'd intended to and I just forgot. Shit gets busy. Rory Peterson and Dave Isbell.
Hey, Dave, why aren't you down here? You live like 2 miles from here.
Yeah, right, Dave. Come on down. We're going to be talking a while anyway, so awesome. You bet, Don. We'll have a drink or two for you. I hope you're having a good time tonight, too. Let's see. Where do we go from here?
You want to do a quick growler thing and kind of pitch that and go?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so February 1st.
February 1st.
It's an interesting thing. It's the 5th running of the growler. And because I'm not claiming that I'm the originator of anything. I just kind of took things over.
Okay.
So the first 2 years, Dave, Andy, and Frank had this awesome course that people have been riding gravel in Pot County here for probably 20, 25 years. And
got some really good stuff in this area.
We went out Sunday after Saturday's monsoon, and we've got this growler training ride thing for beginners going on. And everybody was like, oh, the roads are going to suck. They're going to be awful. I'm like, dude, this is not Stillwater. We're good. I lived in Stillwater for 8 years. Trust me. And we went out and we were on some roads that are very similar to what you're going to see in the growler. We got an inch of rain the day before, and the roads were perfect. They were better than they were before the rain. And they were packed in hard. It was just amazing. Now, we've got some spots. There's one of the guys who did the growler originally, Frank, can find them. Every time I ride with him in the mud, we end up crashing. It's not pretty. But outside of that, so they did the first 2 years, and it was a complete charity ride. It was show up, donate money, ride your bike, have a good time. And they were a lot of fun. I rode one of them. The other one, I would forget where I was. It was somewhere. But then they took a year off, opened the shop, and I approached them and said, I'd love to have a race down here. We've got amazing gravel, we've got amazing people. And so do you guys want to just, want to be a part of it? Do you want to just give it to me? Do you want me to pay you? What do you want to do? And so they're part of the group that does it. The shop kind of funds it and makes it happen in that sense. And the first year we did it, which was year 3, but for most people,
I think that was the first year I did it.
That was the first year you did it, starting out here. It was like 140 people showed up. It was cold.
Yeah,
it got cold. It was so cold. Bobby and Seth from Stillwater rode down from Stillwater, and their plan,
they did.
Right, they were training for the Tour Divide, so they were going to ride down, and they were going to then do the race. They had registered, and the wind kicked up out of the south, and it took them. So Stillwater, 63 miles from my shop to Bobby's shop. It took them 9 hours to make that trip. They ended up bivvying about 5 miles north of I-40. And when they got here, we had the next door, the downstairs reserved. They just went in and fell asleep. I mean, they were done. Man. And that day they had to get up and ride back. But it was a great day. We had, there was hot dogs from next door. It was a great course. It was just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so last year we decided to sort of kick it up a notch. And so we had race timing. We had events for people who were not racing, but if you brought your family, we had, discounted hotel stuff. We had other food options. And Allie Tetrick came in to be sort of our race ambassador. She ran a women's clinic. She did some other stuff. And Allie and I have become pretty good friends since then. And she's coming back.
Okay.
And so that's going to be amazing. So if you are not male and you are in the growler, and Friday night, she's going to do another Q&A for women. And if you don't know who Allie Tetrick is, go read her story. It's an amazing story. She's one of the strongest road, dirt, whatever, though she hates sand, and she's ridden a mountain bike like 3 times. So she's kind of she's definitely on the road side of things, but she's just a freak of nature when it comes to
totally
riding.
into gravel now, though.
And and she's won all the big stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like meet her, but I mean, we saw her. She was at Gravel Worlds as well too, and it killed.
She won the sword. She got the sword.
Everything.
Yeah, and she won the Rift. She's won Gravel Worlds. She's run DK. She's won it all. So, and then last year, Matt Stevens came up and Rob Bell, so a couple of the Panel Racer guys, and they slayed it. That was Rob's 3rd victory in a row.
Rob's awesome. I've known Rob for a long time.
He kills it. Lauren can't come back this year. So last year it was kind of funny. Lauren was flying in from Australia on Thursday night. She arrived Friday morning. Matt picked her up at the airport. They drove up here. They had the race. Lauren ended up winning the women's race. And she was super amazing. It worked out really well because it was the first year Lauf sponsored the race, and Lauren was riding a Lauf. So,
right.
You know, that kind of made me like, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. All right.
You planned it.
Yeah, I worked this out. It's good. But we had a big party out on the street, right? I mean, Cabin Boys Brewery helped us out with some beer, and so we had a big cooler, which we're going to replicate this year. But this year, because we can't roll the dice that it's going to be as nice, we've got a 20 by 30 foot heated tent going up on the street.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to have beer.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to have so I have no idea how late the party's going to go after, because somebody has to stay in the tent to make sure the homeless people don't tear it down or something. So
when are you going to have the tent up?
It's going to go up Friday morning.
Okay.
So, you can come Friday and you can stay there Friday night overnight. And you don't have to get a hotel.
So I car camped here last year.
Exactly.
Right in the parking lot over there. So I can come stay in the tent and be warm.
And we've got I didn't know these things existed, but they have, just like a central heat and air, they've got a heater for a tent. It's not those radiant ones. It's actually a forced air heater for a tent. So we're going to have one of those.
Nice.
And
nice.
In addition to Allie Tetrick coming back this year, Ted King's coming.
All right.
So I met Ted at the Rift in Iceland, where he again came up just a little short to Colin Strickland. And
Colin's a crazy.
Colin, and I took, if any of you ever saw my Facebook stuff, I get partial credit for Colin's victory at the Rift. Because the day before we had this reconnaissance ride, and we were all out dicking around, for lack of a better term. And so Colin tore a tire, and we're like 20 miles from the end.
Oh, wow.
And he's there with his crew of just madmen. These guys are just amazing. And we couldn't swap wheels. We couldn't do this. I had a mechanical, so I was kind of stuck in the truck. And so we ended up repairing his tire and getting him back on the road and sending him in. So I joked with him that I get to take part of his credit. And he's like, you take whatever you want, man. You got me back, and I didn't have to walk. So we're good. But so Yuri, we're working with Yuri. He may or may not show up. That's going to be the big surprise. Yuri Husvald. But
how do you say his last name?
I think it's Husvald. But if I screwed it up, Yuri, sorry, man. I apologize.
He's a perennial DK.
Yeah, he's won DK. I think he won DK twice. Yeah, and he's super strong, and he's like the funnest guy you ever hang out with. He's like the male Allie Tetrick. They're just both kind of crazy. So that's super cool. And then the big one for us was Frankie Andreev's coming. And
really,
yeah, he's going to be our sort of finish line race announcer, playing music.
He's got a great voice.
Oh, he does.
He's got a great radio voice.
Yeah. So
Tour de France rider.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking.
He's done everything.
He's done it all. And
so that's awesome.
Yeah, he's going to be here. He'll probably come down for a bit on Friday night. He'll be here all day Saturday. We've been talking for about a year, and so I was like, all right, got to have Frankie.
Dude, Craig's got contacts.
So
he knows people.
Yeah, well, try to know people. I just make shit up, and then we go from there.
So you were telling the Colin Strickland story, and so it's like, he's kind of. So I go to DK. I do SAG and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't ride it. It's not my thing. It's too much space. So out of like last year's DK, there's 2 statements that came out that it's kind of comical to most people. The first statement was, because DK is DK 200, that's what you're going to do, the 200. But there is a 100. And so several times I heard, yeah, I'm going to DK. I'm only doing the 100.
Yeah. Only
doing 100 miles. Only.
Yeah.
The second statement was, and he attacked at 90 miles to go and won.
Yeah.
You attacked with 90 miles left in a race. 90 miles. 90 miles. I don't know that statement's ever been said before. Is that the first time that statement's ever been spoken?
It's pretty close. Yeah.
I attacked with 90 miles and won.
Anyone. Yeah, he just went.
So I've listened to, it's really funny because Colin Strickland and Payson McKeldin are good friends. And, Payson is, Orange Seal and my buddy Kai Cordes' teammate. So I listened to Payson's, podcast, The Adventure Stash, and he interviewed Colin. They talked about that, and it was. They laugh because I guess Colin is just that way. It's like he makes like the most horrible race decisions.
So gravel is
sometimes they work, and a lot of times they just work.
Yeah, and on the road they don't because you can't. You can't like the Peloton, right? But he was a super amazing guy.
But I guess the big thing coming out of that is that he is going to be back with gravel this year.
Yeah,
because he got thrown a big offer to go to the big time, go to education first, and be with the big dogs. And
he opted out.
He said no because he's got a good fucking thing going.
Oh yeah.
He's like,
well, last year was his year. I mean, he won.
Yeah,
he won it all.
He's
crazy strong.
He's a bad mother.
And he's like a lot of these gravel guys, like Yuri and even Ted, and that they're kind of larger than life. They got big personalities.
Yes, yeah.
And Colin's like the super nicest guy, but he's very reserved
and very eclectic and
it's just a different deal.
Yep. Let me do some quick checking in. Alan White's in the house. Dave Isbell says he's on some drugs right now. He's probably sick, so
are we.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dave. So are we. We have an Uber. There's like one Uber in Shawnee.
Brandon Bowen, what's happening? Danny Prather. Shane Gunno, Kevin Wagner.
Kevin.
Sweet. Liaison Knoll says a few Talcienos. Is that right?
Yes.
Taos people that live in Taos. How's that? I've had a few beers, and you're making me modify my English, which is poor anyway. Are gonna come ride the gravel.
That's
Growler,
awesome.
not me. You'll be skiing. You're always doing something crazy, Liaison. So thumbs up. Alan White says, yo, catching the tail end. Happy New Year's, fellas. Rocking. Alan, hope you and the wife and the kiddos are probably doing their own thing, but, hope you're having a good time. I wanted to go back to a couple things. I wrote a couple notes here while you were talking.
All right.
So this is what you've mentioned this a couple times, and one of the things that I think is really neat about your event, and I wrote family stuff. So I think that is something that I kind of got the vibe for the first year that I did, which was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I think you totally stepped it up last year. I think one of your big focuses for the Gravel Growler was, you had a course. Yeah, you had a race. But you're very cognizant of the fact that we all travel with families.
Yeah,
for sure. A long way.
We drag these significant others and these kids, and they're like, oh, shit. They're gonna be gone for 6 hours. What are we gonna do with the kids for 6 damn hours?
Right.
Well, you go out and ride your bike, and I think you recognize that, and I think that is a big part of what you try to do. You try to make things available for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they can have a good time.
Right.
While we're out doing the stupid stuff that we do.
Exactly. And I mean, part of that was for me, again, I go back to, I used to do long distance triathlons. Right. And so my wife would come with me on probably about half of them. And she'd be like, well, what the hell am I going to do for 8 hours until the finish line? And
right.
They have nothing for people, right? They're not tourist friendly.
Nope.
They assume people want to sit at the finish line and watch crazy people they don't know
That they don't
drag
know.
their asses across the line.
Yep.
And so last year we had like yoga class and a pound fitness class down the way.
Mhm.
We had some bands and some other stuff going on.
Yeah,
down
you had
here.
a guy, like a semi truck that
Right,
pulled up,
and that's going to be here. Frankie's going to be up on that. We're
Okay.
gonna try and do some other stuff that way. Next door at the arcade, there's like this classic 80s, 90s old style arcade here. We have discounted rates, so you're going to get in your bag. You're going to get a coupon that you can give and walk in and get a discounted rate in there. We're going to try and do a couple other things. We had a movie last year.
Yeah, there was a movie that went on.
Yeah, it was The Goonies. And it was free. Everybody who raced got one free entry, so they could give it. Everyone else was like $2 or whatever. So we're going to try and hook something like that up again. There's a museum down here. There's a few other things going on, so we're trying to do that. We've added a 6-mile sort of fun course.
Cool.
So there's going to be no gravel unless we find somebody's driveway.
Right.
But
There's some alleys.
We've got some great alleys with some great gravel. But they're going to go out, and the cool part about that is they'll start about a half hour after everyone else, but they'll get to finish through the finishing tunnel that everyone
Just like
gets
everybody
to
else
use.
does. Perfect.
Right? And so we're just trying to just add some stuff to get more people in town and see what we can do.
Love it. I love it. I mean, I have to tell you, I mean, my kids are big. You know, they're not.
Mine too.
You know, my kids are big, and and so it doesn't. But just the vibe that creates.
It's
that's what's cool, and that's what I dig about events like this. And I think you've hit the nail on the head.
Thanks,
man.
I
Boom
appreciate
with
it.
So.
Well, and you're not the only. I mean, you're not the only one who thinks that way. Like I said, the first year we did like 147. Last year we sold out at 245.
Mm-hmm.
And the last time I checked registration this year, we're at like 205, 207 for this year. And then we added an ultra last year. And the cool part about the ultra, and it was short. I mean, so it was 35 miles, so it wasn't a 50 miler.
Okay.
A little bit longer than 50K, but there was 2 reasons for it. And without like sort of pissing anyone off, one of the reasons we added is it was easy to do, and it would sort of expand the community.
Sure.
Right, there's the ultra people love to do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
I did Pumpkin Holler this year, which was an ultra that added a bike race, right?
Sure.
Added the bike thing. But the other thing is it allowed us to add a whole bunch of extra aid stations on the short course.
Mm-hmm.
So we had people out on the short course almost as long as we had people on the long course last year.
Oh, wow.
Right, so you got people who've never ridden 35 miles, right? Maybe done 20, and they want to experience gravel and they want to do this, but I mean, that's a big ask for them.
It is.
So they're going to average 6 to 8 miles an hour, including stops.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got an aid station with, Gatorade and food, whiskey and beer every 5 to 6 miles, it just kind of brings a big old party.
Sure.
The other thing, and you were racing.
Yeah.
So you may or may not have noticed, but you hit the main aid station twice. Right, so you went out and you took a big left turn and went down this hill, and you went out and then you came back and there was this big aid station.
Yeah.
Well, we did the same thing this year. Short course, long course, running, long course, short course, running.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, hits that aid station twice. And so they had everything from porta potties to food to beer to whiskey to this year they're going to bring a smoker. They're going to have, we're going to have like a photo booth with some props and all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be something for, the ones on the pointy end who are really killing it, whatever.
Yeah.
They're doing a different event. They're racing.
Right.
And for the people who are here to just try and get their 100 miles in, or 82, it's going to be 82.
Okay. I was going to ask that.
Yeah, it's 82.
Okay.
4,700 feet of climbing. So it's got a little bit more teeth than last year. And I'm going to warn everybody right now, when you get to the halfway point and you go, I only had 1,400 feet of climbing and had a bunch of pavement, this course isn't so bad. The back half is the hard half. So be prepared. Save your legs. You're going to need them.
So we're going to go fucking north like forever?
No north. Well, you have to have some north.
Dude,
we're going south and west this year.
Dude, last year.
Oh, the north was easy. It was the south that sucked ass. Right, we planned it this way. We planned it because we said it's winter in Oklahoma. The wind blows out of the north.
All I know is I rode into a headwind.
That was coming south.
All right, I don't. I just know that I rode.
And it was those long rolling hills, and it was awful.
Dude, I rode into a headwind for like. I rode with John Earhart and Malachi Caldwell. And I'm glad John was there because John and I were able to shift pulls. Malachi was having a bad day. Malachi's a young kid.
Yeah.
And we helped Malachi get through that head. I swear we probably weren't in the headwind more than about 45 minutes.
It was about 9 miles.
But it felt like 10 hours.
Yeah. I would see people come across the finish line, and if you don't know, if you weren't there, I'm the guy in the bowler and the kilt. So if you see the pictures, that's me. And there were these looks. We have a buddy of ours, Sean Dunn?
Yeah.
And so Sean was training for Leadville. He'd gotten back into racing.
Sean's from Prague, right?
Yeah. And so he did Leadville this year.
Really?
Yeah. And I get a call from Josh Sprague, who is at Orange Mud. He's the owner of Orange Mud. And he goes, hey, I just saw somebody come by in one of your jerseys. He looked like he was doing well. And like 3 miles later, Sean blew up. But so Sean did the race, and he came in last year, and I'm trying to talk to him. He's just shaking.
Mm-hmm.
And he got like 10th, something like it. So he had a killer day. But he's like, the headwind. Oh, my God, the headwind.
Dude, it was
and
terrible.
Everybody, Allie Tetrick, she said, I was just looking for people to ride with.
No, I know, right?
It was nuts. But we designed it because in February in Oklahoma, where does the wind blow from? From the north. Mm-hmm. So we gave you like 10 miles of south. And on February 2nd last year, the wind blew out of the south. And so this year, I'm going to warn you that we're trying to balance it out, but we're going south and west this year. Okay. And then we're going to come back, and there's a pretty good chunk of east-west. So it'll be good. Different course this year. Every year we've done it, it's been a different course. Next year we've got another, and then probably the year after we'll be back to last year's course-ish, okay. Kind of that way.
What's I always laugh because I'm a single speeder, so
yeah, fast.
I always
one speed. Well, you have 3, right?
Yeah, right.
Sitting, standing, walking.
Yeah. Running, jogging. That's what everybody's like. Stand up. I was like, there go shift, and I stand up. Like, that's it. So it's like I always find myself. I rarely get to ride with other single speeders.
Yeah. Just
because of my pacing. I always end up in random groups of geared guys. So I've worked really hard to be able to ride with them without messing them up. So they'll let me stay in the group. And I make them and I let them know very clearly that I'm a single speeder, because if there's a tailwind or we're going downhill, I can't help you.
Right.
It's like, if you want me to do some work, I will gladly help, but it has to be into a headwind or up a hill. Yeah. That's the only place I can help you. I will gladly go up there. And so usually when headwind comes, I just go to the front and it's like, oh God, it's my turn.
Yeah.
And I just sit there for as long as I can sit there, because I feel like that's the only time I can do my duty for the group.
I can relate, because the first year I did the land run, which was the first year, single speed. And I was finisher 108 of 109. Oh, wow. But everybody died out on Triple X. Did you do the land run that year?
I missed I got past. It was probably a 5 to 6, 7 minute time frame.
Yeah.
And I missed the rain.
Oh.
I came through the start finish. I was clean.
Are you serious?
Clean.
I was riding
5 minutes after I went through that. It rained, and 100 people broke derailers and stuck.
Yeah. It's so I was riding with 5 guys, and 2 of us finished.
Yeah.
And I would sit the same thing you were saying. I'm like, I'm not showing off, guys. I got 2 speeds going up this hill, and standing is the speed I'm going. Sorry, that's it. That's all I got.
You got one.
So it's
we were so funny, because because I knew people in my space, and we started looking at, afterwards we kind of looked at the time frames, because like we come flying through, and we were at the start finish line, and all of a sudden the phones started ringing. There was nobody. Yeah. There was nobody finishing after. We're like, where's everybody?
There was like a 3-hour period when nobody finished.
Where's everybody at?
There were 1s and 2s, and
because it rained, and they all got stuck on Triple X.
Triple X,
and it was just
nightmare.
It ended everybody.
That's gonna be this year, because I signed up.
Yeah,
guarantee. That's why I've avoided that race, and then it's been good the last 2 years, and then I'll get screwed.
Yeah,
I hope.
Well, last year was a good year for it.
Yeah.
The year before was cold. That was my shortest year.
I told him.
I told him never doing that again.
I did 18 miles, and then I was riding with my son-in-law. And
so you were smart.
Well, no, I wasn't smart. I was smart enough to realize that I mean, I'm like, look, if you feel any resistance at all, you stop pedaling. Just stop.
Yeah.
And instead he gets out of the saddle, snap, sheared it off. My son had dropped us off at the start, and he lived in Stillwater. Take out the phone, call him. I'm like, hey, come pick us up. He goes, I just got home. I mean, we're talking like 40 minutes, 50 minutes after we started. I'm like, got to come and get us.
I'm still saying still saying you should be thanking him for breaking his chain.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was
the story he was telling me about uncontrollable shaking.
So Rockford Brown is one of the guys who comes here. He's a super cool guy. He's the canine sheriff in Payne County. And he said he was on duty that day. And they were going around picking people up. And he said there was one guy that picked up, and he's just sitting there with a group of 5 guys just like nodding. And he said, well, you need to come with us because you're in bad shape. And the guy's like, oh, I'm doing my bike. No, forget your bike. The other guys will get your bike loaded up. They got him. I forget how many guys got sent to the hospital with hypothermia. It was horrible.
I finished the race.
Wow.
Completely incoherent. I couldn't brake. I had no brakes.
Wow.
I didn't drink or eat for 15 miles, not because I didn't have it. I could see it.
You just couldn't process?
I was physically unable. My hands didn't work.
Yeah.
I couldn't get my hand. I stopped. I couldn't get my hand in my backpack, even though I could see a pack of goos, a pack of shot blocks right here. I could see them, but I was like, it didn't work. I couldn't even unbuckle my backpack. So finally just said, screw it. I'm getting closer. I see homes. I see houses. I'm 20 out. And I just kept going.
That's nuts.
I had no brakes. My brakes were done.
I
quit braking. I didn't even grab my brake anymore. I would just go to the side. Like if I had to slow down,
just drift.
I would just drift on the side, get in the thick stuff, and it would slow me down. Hope for the best.
That's nuts, man.
And my whole thought process was like, man, there's a house. Okay, so if I have to pass out, there's a house. And I was timing my hypothermic shakes, and I was like, if they ever got below 5 minutes, I'm going to stop. They never got below 5 minutes, so I never stopped.
Oh, wow.
So I finished, and when I crossed the line, someone took my bike. I don't know where it went. Desiree was there, and they offered me a beer, and I said no.
Oh, you must have been bad.
That tells you something right there. And I was like, I'm freezing. I can't think. I need to get warm. She marched me to the car. I didn't know where the car was at.
Wow.
I parked the car. Didn't know where it was at. And then I got to the car, and I was like, I can't get this off. I can't get my shoes off. I can't get. I did this to get my gloves off. That was all I could do. I couldn't get my backpack off. I couldn't undress.
That's crazy.
I couldn't physically function. Then sat in the car for like 20 minutes, and then got our good buddy Steve Cordis. He had a hotel room. They were eating because they did the 50. They were already done. We swung around the corner, and he like did a handoff with his key to his hotel room, and we went to the hotel, and I sat in the shower for like 45 minutes.
Wow.
Just to get functional.
Right.
Just to get functional.
That's crazy, man.
It was
That's
horrible.
crazy.
My fingers were numb for, I don't know, probably 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't have any feeling in my fingertips for like 3 weeks.
You forgot to tell them how you passed out at dinner.
Oh yeah. So yeah, so they were all eating dinner, like, so we had borrowed, they were eating dinner across from Steve's, hotel room where I was showering, and we cleaned up and we went across, and I ordered 1 beer, which I drank like 2 sips, and then dinner, and then as they were eating, I just went. My head hit the table, and my forehead, like I fell asleep at the table.
That's crazy.
Just fell asleep.
That's nuts.
It was brutal. And so I told him, I was like, if it's cold, I don't care.
You're not doing it?
No, if it's cold, fine.
Yeah.
If it's cold and raining,
no.
Oh, dude, I'm going to the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going straight to the bar. I'm like, nah, been there, done that. I'm too old for this bullshit. So.
Yep. Well, you already got it in bank, so you're good to go, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I see you checked in.
I got to suffer through it.
Huh?
Yeah, you got
right. So Alan White says, yo, catch till in. He says, yeah, Alan White says, Strickland let me ride his Allied the day before DK last year. Super cool dude. So that's awesome. Yeah. I remember you telling me that story that he let you take a spin on his bike. So Brian Steiner's in the house. Brandon Bowen says,
thanks,
great
Brandon.
job, CM. Craig McIntire right here. Trip Harrison, what's up, brother? Trip had some good riding the other day at Steve.
Bobby Smith.
He got his 4 hours in to the minute.
You don't have to be exact, Trip.
Nice, Glenn Burton. Cole Ebenkamp, what's happening, Cole?
Oh, Cole, you're gonna love.
Cole, are you gonna come ride mountain bikes, or are you gonna like totally be a road weenie on us, brother? Come on, you need to come back out. You need to come do some dirt. I'll come ride gravel with you.
I was going to say
transition
to the dirt with gravel.
He's going the other way. He's going to the paved road.
Yeah, he started mountain as a mountain biker.
We're losing him.
Hey, I hate to say it, but I started on the road.
I like road
my
too.
two greatest experiences were. This sounds really pretentious, but I've been drinking, so whatever. Paris-Roubaix and riding Liège-Bastogne-Liège. Those are the two.
Did you get to do both of those?
Both of them. And Paris-Roubaix, you don't get to do the boring ass section from the north side of Paris to just the Belgian border, which is flat and there's no cobbles, there's nothing. But when you do the Sportive, you get every single cobbled section. And so we're out there riding on this thing, and all these guys, and I've never figured this out to this day. So you're going to Paris, right? You're flying to France or Belgium, wherever you choose, and you're riding this event that's really hard to get into as an amateur. And they're all riding in the gutters and on the sidewalk. So I'm out in the middle. And these guys, after about 5 sections, are like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Look, I've dreamed about this since I was a kid.
I'm
not
getting
paid for
everything.
this. I'm doing it." But by the last cobbled section, man, I had to go for the gutters.
Yeah,
But,
I've been like from here to
your hand,
from here to here.
you're
it's
numb
like
and you're
brutal.
just ripped up. But the craziest one is the Arnberg Trench, the Arnberg Forest. 2 days a year, people get to ride on it. The day before Paris-Roubaix, when they take all the hay bales off, because it's like 800 years old, right? And so it's wet and it's nasty. And then the pros ride it the next day. And the year we did it, which was 5 years ago, the amateurs got full Roubaix conditions. So we had sleet, we had snow, we had more whiskey.
Josh is going back to his bartender
I'm the
days.
cooler guy.
That's
over here,
awesome.
so
And so we had like hail and rain, everything out of the North Sea coming in. It was just like the full-on conditions, and it was awful, but it was great at the same time. You know what I mean?
No, I totally do.
And if you look up underneath
All
that
the
hat,
people listening know.
you see the quick step hat there. You can barely see under it. I'm going to show you in a minute, but it's a cobble from Roubaix. You can buy them if you finish the Sportive.
Oh wow!
And the story behind that one's crazy. I mean, it took me 3 years to get it, but. Then we go watch the pros the next day, and the sun came out. It was like 75 degrees. There was no wind. They were like, it was the fastest year ever at Paris-Roubaix.
Just, you see that on TV, and I think sometimes
I'm going to go grab it while you're talking.
do it. I think you don't realize. I think we all think like Americanized. We think like the cobblestone road, and we see these like bricked roads. They're all smoothed out.
There you go. Piece of the cobbles.
Dude, that shit up there in Paris, it's not. I mean, it's like these big, huge ass chunks.
Well, the
And
best.
there's gaps in between. It's not smooth like you see roads.
No, that's like Flanders out there. So
Yeah.
I've also done Tour Flanders, and that one you do the entire
Wow.
course, 156 miles, of which the first 100 are flat and whatever, and then the cobbles and climbs begin. But the best description I've ever heard was I'm trying to remember which of our disgraced drug-addled pros made that comment, but I think it was Tyler, said, Flanders is
Tyler
like
H.
a road, right? Where, people still use it. There's carts and there's farmers and stuff. They use these cobbled roads. But Roubaix is like some dude went into a farmer's field and plowed it, and then they took a helicopter and dropped boulders in from the sky. I mean, there are sections where literally you've got 2-3 inch.
Yeah.
And I rode it on a cross bike tubeless.
Yeah.
And luckily didn't flat, but there's a ton of guys who ride it on mountain bikes in the Sportive.
Well, see, I think there's like full sections of those that aren't used at all.
Right.
They're
Well,
like,
Arnberg is the biggest of them. It's 2.7 kilometers.
I saw some like YouTube video where they like have a group of people that go out there and it's like, okay, we're a few weeks out of the race. Okay, we've got to go out and fix these sections, and they reopen them.
Yep.
I mean, they are legit not even open.
Right. Well, like this rock, when they rebuild the sections, they take the old cobbles out that are broken.
Yeah.
They chop them up and make little trophy things out of them, and then they sell them.
And then they put
And then they put new ones back in. And the funny thing about this, so we get to Roubaix, and you can take a shower in the cold showers, which I opted out of, because there's no hot water. It's what it's famous for in the velodrome, right? You can take it, and it's like nobody in their right mind would do that.
No.
And the day we did it was god awful. And so I get in line, and I get to the front, and in true French fashion, because the whole race is done in France. You get right to the Belgian border, and you kind of go through some old World War I battlefields and stuff. It's really cool. So I get to the front, and I'm like, okay, I want my cobble. Here's my finishing thing. And the guy goes, I'm sorry, we're all out. There's one right there. And he goes, well, that's the demonstration. I went, there's one right there.
It's like, I want to
I'll give you 50 euros for it. And he's like, no, we can't sell it. And so I go away. I'm just disgusted. And then when I went to do Amstel Gold 2 years ago, the tour group we were with, I get in the van, and that freaking cobble is sitting there on the dash. I'm like, well, what's the story? Why do you have this thing? And he goes, well, we had this Australian guy, and he did Roubaix, and he bought it, and he left it. And he doesn't want to pay shipping to get it shipped to Australia. So we're not sure what to do with it. So the whole weekend, these guys, I'm like, I'll give you 30 euros. I'll give you 40 euros. I'll give you 50 euros. I don't care. And so they talked to their bosses. And on Monday morning, when they were taking us back to the airport, he goes, well, just tell you that our boss okayed it. So 35 euros and you can have it. And I got my damn cobble from Roubaix.
It's like, you can see the veins. Like, you see it's like heavy. This is like no spring, that's badass.
So it's
you've done some crazy ass races, man.
Yeah,
it's been fun. I'm actually going back to do the 5th monument this year. We're going to San Remo, Milan San Remo. Now,
hey, is that
truth be told,
is that the one that Vanderpool smashed last year?
Yes. Yeah.
The one we just that's cross race that we just watched.
Well, that's No, we've been watching Vanderpool doing the cross races.
That was the one where he dragged it back in, and he ended up getting.
No, he won, but he dragged 10 people back to the top 2 guys,
right,
and then just blew by them, and but then he had the balls to post his power numbers through that whole thing. Yeah. Power number.
He's a freak, though. Vanderpool is. Dude. I mean, he's got. Look at the genetics, right? His dad, Andre, right. And then you look at his grandfather, who's Poulador. Yeah. I mean, the guy is just. He's beyond. Oh yeah. Beyond. But the weird thing about San Remo this year is it always, for the last, I think, 15 years, it's finished on the Poggio. So you go over the Poggio climb, which normally wouldn't do anything to the field, but it's so late, right? This is 300 kilometers. So, 180 something mile race. Right. And so when the Poggio usually defines, that's where Nibali won it I think it's 2 years ago, 3 years ago. He broke away before the Poggio. Right. And but they had an avalanche this year that wiped out the road. And
so they had to stop the race, right?
Yeah, and so this year, it's not even clear that they're going to get to do the Poggio because the Italian government doesn't have the money necessarily to fix it. So they're trying to figure out what route they're going to do. I'm like, great, the year I'm going, I didn't get to do the Poggio. But, before everybody thinks owning a bike shop allows me to go to Europe and do races, no, I've got a really good friend who he's got 1 billion frequent flyer miles. And so, when you get to be our age – people don't do stuff, right? They sit at home on the weekends and watch football. Yeah. Right? I mean, more or less. And so you search for people to do things. And I'm always willing to do something stupid. So, so I get to go do this.
Right here, knuckle bump. Stupid is our name. So,
I'm lucky enough to go to Oklahoma for a few days and ride mountain bikes, and here you are.
I know, dude. I had no idea that he did all this crazy stuff.
When I had little kids, I did nothing. And so my kids are all grown, and they don't live in my house. And I'm super lucky. I don't take credit for that. I'm just, lucky. I got lucky. So
Trip Harrison, Glenn Burton, Cole Patrick, Chris Call, Bobby Smith. I love that day. I should probably move to Canada. So. Steven Smith.
So Bobby Smith, go do Paris to Ancaster. One of the largest sort of semi-gravel rides. I think they're on their 17th year now. It's in Ontario. It's easy to get to. Super awesome ride.
I've got friends in Canada now too. So my one of my best buds, just him and his wife they just decided to move. Her family's from there. They've been here. They've been in Guthrie and Jared Cassada and Shelley. Awesome. I'm not even sure if they're back in Canada yet. They sold everything and got an RV, and they were taking a long trip back to Canada. So last time I heard, he was hanging out in New Mexico, just drawing and hanging out with his wife, and so. Yeah, so we've got
That's awesome.
They're eventually going to settle there and move back there. So
I have that option to return.
you have that option to return. I've never been there.
Dude, get a passport.
I know. I got
It's
it.
easy. $100. Get your picture taken. $100.
Dude, I went through that process with my kids. My kids have passport. I just haven't done it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll have to go use it. Cheer Harrison, yo, what's up, brother? Come ride with us again. Hope to see you tomorrow, but I don't know. It's a long drive.
Well, in addition, you live in Oklahoma, so there's no guarantee we'll ever get the license done so we can fly. So if you want to fly, you better get your passport.
You got to get a passport. I know, right? No, didn't they say something that we're gonna have to do that like the next time we renew?
It's October 2020. It's
To get
done.
that,
like you start going now. If you're flying back to Oklahoma from some other place, they look at you like, "What the hell's wrong with you guys?"
No, but I mean, I think aren't we supposed to? Isn't that license, that special license with
Real
that scanner
ID.
that's supposed to happen? Real
It's-
ID. Yeah.
It's supposed to happen, but how long have you lived in Oklahoma, Corey?
Forever.
There you go. And how many things have not really happened that was supposed to happen?
Forever.
Yeah, okay. There you
They're ahead of
go.
Kansas on a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah. But
Jeez.
you guys have a real ID already though, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anthony Armstrong, what's happening? Say hi to Matthew for me. Lewis Lindenberg, good to see you. Roy Pemberton, David Isbell, Corey, Craig could fill you in Guy when on vacation. Oh, I guess you guys went on vacation.
No, he's saying that. I guess he's saying I could fill in for you if you ever want to go on vacation.
Oh yeah, okay. All right.
I have to grow the beard longer.
There you go. You got a few years.
I used to. When I lived in Hawaii, mine was down to here.
Dude, I'm like 10 years in.
That's awesome.
10 years. That's just
My wife has announced that it wasn't like that when we got married, and therefore it will not be.
will not be ever. No. John Shears. Let's see. Bobby Smith says sounds good. John Shears joined. JB Shootman. JB from Medicine Park. John, what's happening, brother? Happy New Year, John. Trip Harrison. I should be at St. Crispin's. All right, brother. Yeah, Trip, come ride with us. We're going to be there at 10. We're riding multiple laps.
We're going to have a couple of bikes out there. If you know people who don't have a mountain bike, or you don't have a mountain bike, I'm going to bring a couple extra bikes, some demos. We got some Banshees, a Marin. Yeah, we got the Legend 29er, one of the 12 in the world, behind us. So you can drop it on the yellow trail and then just walk it back because it's more shit.
Which has like 4,000 millimeters of travel in the front.
It's a 29er with 200 millimeters of travel. Enjoy.
Happy New Year, JB. Anthony Armstrong. Happy New Year, Anthony. Quincy Simon joined.
Hey, buddy.
Quincy, you're kind of late to the show, bro. Brad Berger, what's happening? So, I don't know. I think we're we're kind of winding it down.
He's late, but he gave me a hard time saying I'm always late to stuff. Wait till Kai.
Quincy. So Quincy Simon's another one of our Kansas brothers. Giving our man Josh hell for being late.
Hey, Josh was here like an hour early. He was good.
Okay,
he was good.
So Quincy, I'm looking at the live time. We're at 1 hour and 32 minutes, my longest podcast ever. You just joined, bro.
So you're a week early.
That's later than Josh has ever been. And I don't even remember the last time I've seen you and Amber. That leads us to our final topic.
Land run.
No.
Mid-South.
Mid-South.
Yep.
That's the last time I saw you guys, probably. So Land Run 100. Big announcement came out yesterday.
Yeah, we woke up and both had an email.
Yeah. Josh was like, "Hey, did you hear that?" I was like, "Yeah, I read that." So looks like Land Run is going to be rebranded, renamed, same event, same everything. Everything's the same, but it's now going to be called Mid-South.
Yep.
Don't want to get into the details because honestly, I have not talked with the anybody involved, and I don't want to spout any opinions without talking to all the parties involved. And honestly, I don't care. I really don't. I know people are like, I already have people talking one side or the other. Simple fact is I don't care. It's an awesome event. Bobby and Crystal Lintel and everybody at District are the most awesome people around.
For sure.
they could call their event whatever the hell they wanted to call their event, and I would go to their event because they're awesome.
Unless it's raining and 35 degrees.
No, he'll still go.
He'll still go.
He'll
He just
go.
won't ride.
I will still go. But I will not repeat 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I will actually, I will give you my money, and then I'm going straight to Finnegan's and hanging out at the bar.
Yeah.
Is what I'm doing.
Until you move back to district and hang out at that bar.
Well, yeah, because it won't be crowded because everybody will be out riding their bikes. So
Right.
I'll be hanging out there. Yeah,
Yep.
That's totally what I'm doing. So, so Mid-South, that's what we're going to call it. It's going to be a hard transition. I'm going to call it Land Run for probably at least another 6 months, and but I'll work on calling it Mid-South, and I think we all will. And regardless of the change, it's
just a name.
It's just
a name.
And the logo is actually pretty cool. A bunch of people have been asking, and, and I've been kind of following Bobby. And so if you look at the logo, it's the sun and then the hills. Because for any of us who've done the Land Run now, the Mid-South, that's one thing they have no shortage of. Well, okay, red dirt, muddy, red, cold, muddy, dirt.
Stop saying muddy.
Muddy.
Last year we
muddy.
Last year we had
you had dust. Dust. Same with the dry year. I remember the dry year. I did the dry year on a 29 full suspension 29er, and long story why, but it was horrible.
I couldn't. So for the first I don't know how far it was, 8 miles, 10 miles before we turned right, I couldn't see shit.
No, it's just.
And then we all hit the first gravel we hit. I can't remember what road that is. I've ridden it a million
44, times. I think, or 56.
And there's a little. It was like a water bottle dump.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, bottles flying.
Yeah.
I lost a bottle.
You lost a bottle?
Dude, I've never done that ever. That was the first time I've ever lost a bottle, and I lost it, and I was like, I'm glad it's cold, because I'm not stopping. It's 50 miles, one water bottle. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing today. Yep. I was
nuts.
but it was cold.
That's
right.
It didn't matter.
He's nuts.
It just didn't matter. It was cold. I don't drink water when it's cold. So
right.
It was
But
fun.
no, good on them. They're expecting 3,000 people this year. Can you imagine? I mean, I remember. Okay, so I was telling Corey this earlier.
3,000.
And this is hilarious because Bobby Wintle, I love you, Bobby. I love you, Crystal. I used to have a place in Stillwater as well as here. I've been shopping at District since they opened. And I remember going to District probably a month, 2 months after they opened up. And I was talking to Crystal because Bobby wasn't there that night. Bobby was at the OSU Triathlon Club meeting talking to them about bikes or something. I don't know what he was doing. But so I asked Crystal, I'm like, hey, so I'd love to get a crossbike. You guys have any in stock? She's like, nope. We can order you one. We don't have any crossbikes. But they did have some single-speed Bianchi fixies. If I recall correctly, they had a Trek. It was the current TT bike. They had a bunch of road bikes. And so, I mean, you look at the evolution of that shop, and you can't say enough about the Wintles, right? They went into a town with a bike shop that had been there since the 20s, and they did what, to be honest, is kind of happened here. We got a bike shop here that's been here since 72. Larry is one of the original 25 Cannondale dealers in the country. He brought BMX to Oklahoma. The first BMX tracks outside of California were in Oklahoma.
Wow.
And so we've tried to coexist, not put anyone out of business. We want to grow the community, not divide the community. Mm-hmm. And Bobby and Crystal have done the same thing. And they have been amazing. And, I only see Bobby probably about once a year now, but, he knows me, gives me a hug. We talk about stuff. Mm-hmm. And they have done such amazing stuff with that. When I was up there last year hanging out at the Dealer Expo, it blew my mind how big it had gotten. And he was just like, yeah, so what do you think about the stage? I'm like, now, if you didn't go last year, they had, you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. They had the stage, and it's like a 20 by 30 foot LED TV.
Like on the corner by the bank.
Yeah, right there by the bank in the shop. And it was like a 20 foot, 30 foot LED TV in the middle of freaking Stillwater, Oklahoma. Oh. It was crazy. And he was just kind of like coyly, like Bob is, like, yeah, I had to write a check for it. But yeah, it was kind of cool.
But you know what's cool about that is, like, never in his wildest dreams,
No.
did he plan that?
No.
He was like, no.
Yeah.
He just wanted to create something fun, create something inclusive. And I think you grab a vibe from the same thing that Bobby does, your race does, and that is that it's extremely inclusive.
Yeah.
It doesn't exclude anybody. You don't even have to want to ride a bike. You can come hang out at your event. You can come hang out at.
You can come in and hang out with Frankie.
There you
go.
I kind of want to do that.
Yeah, me too.
I mean,
I don't know. I should. I'm gonna get in touch with Frankie after this.
No, I don't speak as well as he does, but I have to admit, I think tonight I've said less and less.
No, you've been a superstar, man.
Oh my gosh, I rewatched my videos, and I'm like, oh my god, how many times did I pause? How many times did I And then I always laugh because when I upload to YouTube, it takes like a picture of some part of your, and every time I'm going like this, and I'm like, what the fuck? I did that 3 times.
Yeah, but it was one of those 3 times was the best time.
God. So.
Mid-South.
Mid-South. Be there. Even if you didn't get in and you don't get in on the wait list, go up Friday if you can. It is insane. The people, I'm going to be up there. We are an Otso. We're the only Otso dealer. If you don't know anything about Otso,
I don't know.
Come and check them out.
Yeah.
So Otso are the guys who did Wolf Tooth. Everybody's heard of Wolf Tooth, right?
Yep.
They do all of. So they decided they wanted to do a certain kind of gravel bike, and nobody did it. So they did it. They've got steel, and then the red one up there, that's their carbon. And the steel ones are freaking amazing. They're steel, so they're not light. Everybody would put on one of those things, they just go, this thing rides amazingly well. I mean, the guys at Wolf Tooth are geniuses, in my opinion.
Still stupid.
Yeah, it's freaking
ridiculous.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, they've got this cool flip chip thing in the back, so you can change the geometry of the bike. You can extend it by 20 millimeters, shrink it in, change it up, clears 2-inch tires.
Bike owner geek.
Yeah, that's me.
So
they're going to have a tent up at Mid-South.
Okay.
And so I'm going to go up there, and they said, hey, you come by and kind of work the tent with us. And so I'm going to hang out with the Otso guys up at the Mid-South. They're going to be down here. They're going to have a demo day. We got Lauf is going to have a full selection of bikes. And the cool part is if you're really nice to me, we can probably hook you up if you want to ride at Lauf True Grit in the Growler, and you get in early enough being nice to me, we can probably hook you up on one. Last year, I think we put 8 people out on Lauf's for the race. And so...
so, Craig.
Yeah, sir.
Are you my buddy?
Yeah. You want in? No, they don't have single speeds, man.
It's a fork!
Oh, well, you want a fork. We got forks. Look at these freaking forks. They're everywhere. You want a fork?
I want to ride a lot of fork.
You got it, man.
Do I have to ride a whole bike?
Well, unless you ride it unicycle style, no.
I won't shift.
No, you don't have to shift. We'll just zip tie it. The old
Dude,
school, right?
You guys, yeah, totally. Zip tie it.
It's got 1 gear.
I'm
the
honest.
gear you're in?
I'm honest. I don't lie.
No, we'll hook you up, man. We'll hook you up. I may bring one of the Laufs tomorrow just for grins. If you've never ridden a Lauf on trails, it's kind of stupid because they ride like early 90s mountain bike. Same kind of geometry, about the same width tire. You remember back in the day?
Yeah.
You know, like 1.8-inch tires.
I don't think I ever went there.
You remember Tomac? Okay, when Tomac went to Motorola, and so he's riding road, he rides in the Tour de France, but he comes back and he wins mountain bike cross-country worlds on a drop bar mountain bike. You remember that?
I do. And he talked about it in one of Payson Kelman's podcast.
Take any Lauf, True Grit.
He did he won a downhill race with fucking drop
bars, yes. And Tomac was cool because what he would do to train for Motorola is, and all the other guys were taking the lifts when they first started letting him take the lifts up to the top. He would ride up for training, and then he'd do the drop in. He was nuts. But
he's a bad mother.
So we'll have one out there if you want to ride it tomorrow.
Bring it.
We'll do it. And it has, and if you really want to use gears, it's got the AXS, so you get like the auto shift electronic.
You better not even touch it, Corey.
Corey would be like, I gotta have gears.
You know, believe it or not, I actually do know how to shift. I have gears on my road bike, although my road bike is pretty much permanently on my trainer. But I can actually click a shifter, so if I had to. So
I offered to let
it.
But
if you want to, we'll throw a Lauf fork on your single speed for the Growler.
Dude, let's totally do it.
We'll do it.
Fuck yeah.
Do it, man.
That's happening. That's happening right there. Quincy Simon, Brad Berger, KOMM podcast, Strava it, GT. Yeah, I don't know how to do that, but I guarantee we have knocked out like $31 worth of.
That's all.
We have knocked out
all 10.
$31 of
one
peanut butter
between us.
whiskey.
That's all 10 of those.
Jerry
Oh my
Puckett,
God, we're gonna die.
GT, Jack Christian, Steve Cordis is in the house. What's happening, Steve? Glad to talk to you
Damn,
earlier.
dude, you're falling behind.
I just filled one up. You guys are giving me a hard time.
Don't spend 4 days with
David
these
Isbell's
guys.
Corey White, right?
Your liver won't survive.
Isbell, see, Isbell's like on point. He just asked the question. We just talked about it. So
There you go.
apparently the answer is yes, I am. Brad Eaton joined the house. So, alrighty. We're an hour and 45 minutes in.
And this is your
Time
longest
flies when
one.
you're having
It
fun.
is. Cheers.
Cool. Happy New Year.
Oh,
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Craig,
It's been awesome
it's
having
been
you here.
great. Thanks for letting us come down. Thanks for
No
chatting
problem.
with us. Told some fucking awesome stories. You told us a
Great.
lot of stuff we had no clue about you, man. It's awesome. Josh, thanks for coming and hanging out, and being just like a buddy in stupidity, to come do stupid stuff with
I'm a
us.
buddy in stupidity.
Let's
too.
go
It's the
ride.
best
Let's
thing.
go ride the rockiest trails in Oklahoma for. a couple
You know,
of days.
the problem-
we don't,
I haven't
we don't
been on-
have rocks like that.
So it's
in
always
Kansas.
funny. It's like we invite Josh to a trip, and it's like come on up. And the first day, we're just gonna ease into it, and then like the first day we
Medicine Park.
dude, we just like we just hammering.
He invites me to Bentonville.
Bentonville.
Last year, and we start on the back 40.
Yeah,
and
but we go like we're gonna have like we're gonna do 30 minutes easy, and then we do like a 4-hour ride. We take him on the hardest shit,
Ask the gravel guys out of here, right? It's the famous thing. It's like, oh, today's a recovery day, especially when Sean Dunn is riding, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's Sean's recovery day, which means we're going to try and kill each other for 4 hours.
Yeah, right, exactly.
We had one of those. We actually dropped 4 guys, had to tap out and call in rides. There's only 3 of us who finished the ride. And I sat on this sofa in the air conditioning for like an hour before I did anything. I just got in here and was like, oh.
Curtis, you are correct. I have broken a steer tube. It was at the
Loud Forks guaranteed for life.
Mid-South.
Life.
Yep.
You didn't tell anybody about your shoe situation and falling over on the trail a couple of times. I think Corey crashed more at Medicine Park than I did, just for the record. He'd be a little ahead of me, and I'd finally be catch up. I see Corey laying over on a rock.
So, all those times that you guys show up with no shoes? And I always have mine because I always pack my bags. I always have everything organized. I managed to do the same thing. Showed up at Medicine Park.
You did it. You brought out the best.
I had to call him out.
I had no shoes. But luckily there were shoes in base camp at Medicine Park, but they just weren't ideal. And I could not get clipped in and out. So how many times did I lay it over
I
the
said
trail?
4 or 5 that I
4 or
saw.
5.
There's times you're ahead of me.
It was not like hard. I'm just
like,
like, I get to a stop and I dink and I, normally I clip out, clip back in, I'm good to go. And it's like, I would go, and I'd just fall in the bushes. And yes, I poked a hole in my kit. So, yeah.
good times.
Now it's a
Good
true,
times.
It's true kit.
It
Put a
is,
hole in
right?
it, right?
Yeah, right. So I usually we give Josh here the
I'm the crashing.
the hard
guy.
time.
We
Josh
only
gets
crashed
back and he's
twice.
like, okay, we need to get the peroxide out because he's bleeding from the knees down. And yeah, it was me yesterday just because I couldn't get clipped in and out. So, but thumbs up to Mark Ellis, base camp, and Mark. I totally forgot to lock the back door of base camp, so I assume you figured that out by now. But hey, we'd been drinking beer, and that shit happens. So, let's see. Very different drivers in the house, and Jim Young's in the house. Alrighty, ladies and gents. Josh Potts, my buddy from Kansas,
Great to meet you,
Great to
Josh.
meet you.
doing stupid shit
Having fun.
with all of us,
It's
having a
been
good time. Martika and his family, peace, thumbs up for giving him the hall pass. He's been
Probably won't
having a
get
good
another
time.
one, but
Craig McIntire for giving us great stories, letting us in his shop. selling lights a couple hours ago when he's closed, and put on a great event, Gravel Growler. All kinds of cool shit happening for the Gravel Growler coming up on February 1st.
But don't miss out on January 31st too. We hopefully get Frankie down here. We should have Ted down here.
The whole
Allie will be down here.
This is going to be the whole weekend, so let's just plan Friday through. Well, I don't know.
We'll have shit going on. Doesn't matter.
The whole weekend, Friday, Saturday.
We'll have a cooler full of beer. We'll have coffee machine running. Whatever. Just come and hang out.
Come hang out. It's all great.
Heated tent. Corey's going to be sleeping in it.
Dude, that's.
You can't even offer him the couch.
Dude, that's the heated tent's like really piqued my interest. So, peace. Love you guys. We're out.